Hello everybody, this is David. Welcome back to my channel. This is the next video in our series, The Christian Ethic in the 21st Century. And the last three videos we've been looking at a different system of ethics which came up in the 1960s and which has been quite influential. In the last video we looked at the idea of situation ethics. There generally seems to be an aversion to the law. Very typical 1960s thinking, smash the system as it were. And situation ethics has been trying to smash the Judeo-Christian ethic since its inception. So let's continue and let's just have a look at what the law is, what the law is intended to do for society. Now, it may be said to begin with that the law is the distillation of experience. Law seeks to ensure that those courses of action which experience has shown to be beneficial are followed, and to eliminate those courses of action which experience has proved to be harmful and injurious to society and its members. So law then is a summary of society's experience of life and living. Therefore, to discard the law is to discard experience. This is not by any means a full description of law. There just can't be in such a short video, for it will very clearly make a great difference which courses of action any particular society has decided to be good or bad. So it could be put another way. It has been said that law is the rule of reason applied to existing circumstances. Now, Fletcher has said that the law is that which seeks to ensure that people will live life as a reasonable man would live it. Again, it has been said that law translates morals or value judgments into social disciplines. A society comes to a conclusion what a reasonable life is. It comes to a conclusion as to what it will take as its working values and as to what is dangerous to these values. It then frames a code of laws, the intention of which is to ensure that this approved way of life and those chosen values can be followed. Now, one of the main functions of law is definition. It defines what is to be punished and what is to be approved. It defines what is crime, and it lays down the point at which restraint will be exercised on the man who refuses to conform. There is a sense in which law not only defines but creates a crime. For instance, for long, polygamy was perfectly legal, as for example in patriarchal times in the Old Testament. Then monogamy becomes the law, and that which was once legal becomes a crime. It is law's function to define that which at any time society forbids. So we can also say that law has, or at least can have, two opposite effects. First, by defining the wrong things, the law intends to dissuade people from doing them. It may either dissuade by making people afraid of the consequences of doing the wrong thing, or by creating in them a sense of responsibility for maintaining the society of which they are a part. But secondly, the law can also have an unfortunate effect. The very forbidding of a thing can create a desire for that thing, as the Apostle Paul so vividly shows us in Romans chapter 7, where he writes, "If it had not been for the law, I should have not known sin. I should not have known what it is to covet, if the law had not said, you shall not covet." So the thing is no sooner forbidden than it becomes attractive. Now, this is what Augustine discovered about stolen pears, and this is a story that he writes. where he says, "There was a pear tree near our vineyard laden with fruit. One stormy night we rascally youths set out to rob it and carry our spoils away. We took off a huge load of pears, not to feast upon ourselves, but to throw them to the pigs, though we ate just enough to have the pleasure of forbidden fruit. They were nice pears, but it was not the pears that my wretched soul coveted, for I had plenty better at home. I picked them simply in order to become a thief. The only feast I got was a feast of iniquity, and that I enjoyed to the full. What was it that I loved in that theft? Was it the pleasure of acting against the law in order that I, a prisoner under rules, might have maimed a counterfeit of freedom by doing what was forbidden? The desire to steal was awakened simply by the prohibition of stealing." End of quote. So, law is a double-edged force. Its prohibitions may dissuade, but they might encourage. So we can also say that law is for the protection of society. Law is meant for the control of the man who would injure society. Law is ordinary people uniting and banding themselves together to control the strong bad man. Now, a number of small boys may make a common cause against the bully, against whom singly they would be helpless, so they combine to control him. So law is a defensive and protective alliance by the mass of ordinary people to control and restrain the man for whom his own ends would injure or exploit or dominate society. Law exists for the protection of the ordinary citizen. Now, lastly, and this is a very important view of the law, it's a view which is largely but not quite universally accepted. It is the view that it's always public morals with which the law is concerned and never private morals, unless these private morals are an offence to public decency or a threat to public welfare. In other words, there are many things which are immoral but which are not illegal. Or, to put it in another way, there is a wide difference between sin, with which the law is not concerned, and crime, with which the law is deeply concerned. Take, for example, the case of sexual morality. So long as a sexual act is by common consent between two adults, so long as it cannot be said to have hurt or injured either, and so long as it is carried out in a way that does not offend public decency or interfere with public order, then it is not the concern of the law. Now, this has always been the law in regard, for example, to prostitution in this country. It has never been illegal to have sexual intercourse with a prostitute. What is illegal is solicitation, which is an offence against public order. So the official and the personal point of view combines to hold that private morality is no affair of the state or of the law unless it has public effects. We'll come back to this point later. Now, the trouble about this whole question is that it presents us with a series of tensions which are built into the problem of the connection between morality and law. And I'm going to end the video here because we're going to be looking at these tensions in the next video. So I want to thank you for joining me in this video. See you next time.